Hey there, welcome back to another episode of the wonderful Accidental Asshole, the spiritual journey, or it's a spiritual journey, my spiritual journey, your spiritual, whatever, whoever's spiritual journey, okay? Because attachment issues really do lead you down the path of getting a better spiritual connection. At least in my case, it has. And in most people that I work with, that was what I found over the years. So anywho, what am I talking about today? All right, so I had somebody ask me this question over on Instagram, and I'm sharing it over here because I can do a longer video, although this video is not going to cover everything. It's just going to cover a little bit of what the question was and then my quick answer to it because, of course, I don't want this to turn into a 10-hour video. So here's the question. And this question, as you can see, is pretty interesting, right? And this came from, again, a video that I had as a reel on Instagram. If you don't know my Instagram account, it's Tracy L. Crossley. That's the easiest way to find me. All right. Discussing my avoidant tendencies in relationships and how I cope or have coped. Right. Sure. Have I coped? All right. Yes, I have. But not coped. How about worked through or completely avoided? All right. So anyways, it's a lesson in that wonderful video game of life that I love to explore, right? We're always at a certain level and we're always up leveling. It's a never ending video game. So we're never going to get to the end. And you get to a point where you're like, that's okay. Because here's the thing. Perfection is not the goal, especially with attachment issues. Happiness, feeling confident in yourself, feeling calm and not anxious is the goal. That was my goal. Because I always felt abnormal. Like there is no way I could ever be happy. There's no way I can be relaxed unless I'm in my little box. I had clients that would say to me, oh gosh, the only time I feel safe is when I'm home in my bedroom, all snuggled up, with the TV on or whatever, doing whatever in my little space. Yeah, I know that one. I used to be like, I got to be home by a certain time. Like I was going to explode if I didn't get home at that time. So anyway, I'm wandering off here, but let's get back to what the question is. So with that question, I basically have found myself taking emotionally risky action. Okay. And emotionally risky action, if you followed any of my work, and you can find my podcast, by the way, where I have 9 freaking years, Freedom from Attachment is what it's called, of episodes all about attachment shit. I've been doing this since the dark ages. All right. And it's been my journey too. And you'll find as you go through it, like, oh, Tracy was single in the beginning. And then Tracy got into dating. And then she met her husband and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So check it out. All right. Taking emotionally risky action, even when it's the last thing you want to do. And sometimes I don't want to do it and I don't. Yeah, I'm not perfect. Okay. Again, I'm not selling you guys a perfect package over here. And anybody who is, they are not doing you a service. They're doing you a disservice. Okay. When it comes to what I've done to cope, or let's say to get through my avoidant tendencies, I'm going to give you a partial list that I just pulled together to do this video. And this was at the top of my thoughts. So one of the things that I've done is I say sorry and take responsibility when I prefer to actually jump into molten lava. Okay. The other night we were at dinner with another couple. The wife was interrupting the husband and telling the story he was trying to tell. And he's like, oh, I guess I'm saying it wrong and blah, blah, blah. And I thought about it in that moment. And I knew from my husband's reaction that he was just not copacetic with the whole thing. And the next day I said to him, you last night, how did you feel about that situation? And, I said, with what happened? And he goes, I was not appreciative of it. I had a problem with it. And he went into what the problem was, of course. So anyways, this is not to just dump on somebody else. It's the point of, I said to him, I realize that sometimes I've had the propensity to do that to you, although I'm not doing it because I don't think you can tell the story. I'm doing it because I'm excited and I want to get involved and say something too. Now, this is a man who also has been interrupting me pretty much for years. It's gotten better. Okay. I can't force him to change. I'm not trying to force him to change, but I have a choice when he does interrupt me about what I'm going to do. And that's just one thing, right? And he has the same choices to make as well. Like when I do something that annoys him or irritates him or triggers him or whatever. Okay. So for me, that was big because I would never say I'm sorry. I was above it. I was perfect. What are you talking about? So the other thing I do is I stand for myself and my worth. And that means I don't take what my husband says personally. I realize that he has a whole history, okay, that was without me. And in his history, he went through things. And so he sometimes gets triggered by things that I'm like, what are you talking about? Right. And I'm not trying to change him and I don't ask him to change. And he may try to tell me, I wish you would do this or wish you would do that. And it's like, well, sweetie, this is the package. And that's one of the things that is hard is to go, this is the package. This is it. I'm not changing. I'm not doing anything unless it is something that comes from within me. But I have to be kind and compassionate to what's in me. I actually say this shit, by the way. And I hear it and I feel it and I feel good. And that is the difference, because when I would get into it with anybody else, it was always like an argument, bicker back and forth. It would be me defending myself or him defending himself or whatever. I don't do it. We don't, even when we get into something, it doesn't last long, because I'm not trying to win. But what I am trying to do is go, where am I in this? How do I feel in this? So the point is, we both have self-awareness, and that means that our relationship stays pretty solid even when we go through harder times, because we have had a lot of shit thrown our way through circumstances. And, all you can do is keep getting up every day and doing it. So the other thing is, there's more that I do. Showing up when old avoidant me doesn't want to at all and could go entertain herself in her room by herself, okay? And that means spending time with my husband, even when I'd rather be sitting alone in a room, even if it's scrolling on a freaking phone. I will go and spend time with him. Why? Because it's uncomfortable sometimes. It's not because of him. It's just because he's another person. And there's something about my old wounds that's like, oh no, I got to have this all covered and okay. And that's the shit I've been breaking through for years and years. And there's still some of it in here. And that is what comes up for me to break through. And I'm going to give you guys what I've told my clients in a second. What, over the years, one of my little things that you can do. So another thing is, the fun part is, though, when I am sitting there and I'm watching a movie, he's not saying or doing anything. He's not doing anything. And all of a sudden this urge comes over me to bolt, to get the fuck out of the room and go somewhere else. Yes. And I'll sit there and go, oh my God, Tracy. Okay. So what are you feeling? And I'll find the physical sensations in my body. If you follow my work at all, you're going to know the whole awareness, feeling your feelings, emotionally risky action. You're going to know that's like at the foundation. And then everything is built from there, just like how your beliefs are built. And I have a whole methodology around that. And you can find most of this, again, in my podcast, my website, everywhere. Okay. And I also have a newsletter too. If you want to sign up for it, email happiness@tracycrossley.com. All right. Anyway, so I ask my feeling, what's going on, and usually something from the past, an old memory just comes popping up, and I'm like, oh, and here's the thing, you can do this, and it could be a memory you've remembered a million times, but there's nuances to your memories, okay? It's not exactly the same. It's like, really pay attention to the feeling and what it is telling you, because there are things that you're not aware of that happened in that memory, because otherwise that memory would not come up anymore, okay? So I will do that, and then if I want to take a bigger step, I will do an emotionally risky action and share it with my husband. Like, honey, what I really want to do right now is go be alone. And the reason I want to go be alone is, and it has nothing to do with him, of course. So he's just like, okay, honey, thank you for telling me. But a lot of times after I say it, I don't even feel like doing anything. I'm just going to sit there and finish watching the movie. This is my point. Your speaking up and speaking for yourself builds your self-worth. It builds your confidence. Avoidance, hiding all that shit, sucking it down and having a facade does not give you true self-confidence. Same for anxious avoidance. Does not work, will not work. You will not feel the relief of anxiety leaving your body. Okay, I don't have anxiety anymore. Even in these moments, I don't. I just have this urge to get the fuck out. Not like a panic attack, like, oh, there's a fire on my ass, I need to go put it in water, kind of thing. All right. Anyways, so when it comes to the technique with my clients, really quick, I'm just going to tell you this. This is the 5-minute thing, the 5-minute, whatever you want to call it, stay 5 minutes longer. And my clients would always talk about it like, oh yeah, Tracy's 5-minute longer thing. So a lot of times you do not know what is driving you to do anything, okay? We have such old patterns of behavior that's what we're reacting to. It's like the beliefs and the patterns, the beliefs and the patterns. And so you could be on a date and all of a sudden you want to get the fuck away from them. Well, sit there for 5 minutes longer. Why? Because if you have an urge to bolt, it's old. It's in the past, okay? So past stuff feels like a more intense load in the present moment. So what you want to do is you want to feel that feeling still of, why do I want to bolt? Not answering it up here and intellectualizing it, but getting in your body and feeling, why do I want to? And it can feel intense, but be with it. It's like when you're a kid and you have that scary monster moment, oh, the monster's under the bed, I got to get out of here. No, be with the feeling. Be with it. Stick with it for 5 minutes and find out, why do I want to bolt? And it's not the other person. Don't go there. Come back to you. What is getting triggered inside of me that I want to get the hell out of here? This is how you find out about yourself. This is how you develop more self-awareness. And this is where you start to connect to your feelings that you've been avoiding your whole life. Okay? Anyways, you guys, take care. Subscribe if you're interested. And please share any kind of topics you want me to talk about that are relevant to this channel. Take care.